Good afternoon. Welcome back to Global Media Network, LLC. Passionate World Talk Radio Network is a wholly owned subsidiary of Global Media Network. Educate, enlighten, and entertain. And today on Scam DamNation with your host, Lillian Cauldwell, I have to tell you, this past weekend, I received an email from Chase Morgan of the Chase Bank. A pretty big deal. Why? Because it was telling me that my Social Security number was breached. And what is breach? And what does it mean to you? And how are you going to protect your Social Security? Please remain with me on this episode so you can take away some key takeaways. So when you leave, you'll know how to protect yourself, especially with your Social Security number, which might as well be, folks, your tree of life. So let me begin. Chase credit cards, Chase Amazon, Discover, American Express. All these credit cards offer you a free service to let you know whether your account number, your email, your password, Social Security, personal information, was leaked. And in this case, breaches, and no, we're not talking about sharks jumping out of the water or whales slapping down with their tail and making a deep dive. We're talking about information that is taken hostage or a company or organization raided for the information pertaining to you and your finances. That is basically what a breach is. And more breaches are occurring every day. And you should know now, before it happens, what you need to do before it actually happens. So when I received the message from Chase telling me that my Social Security number was breached, they gave me a link, clicked on it, signed in, and got the information. And I will say it slowly enough so either A, you can write it down, or better yet, once the program is published on all social media, including youtube.com, PW Network, PWTR, you can go over to the blog and click on the link, and it will take you to all the numbers and emails that I'm going to provide to you so you know how to protect yourself immediately. So what are the first things? Like I said before, data breaches are becoming more common, and they're exposing your personal information to anyone who can find it. The good news is that you can take steps to keep your information safe, like placing a lock or freezing your credit report. And while you can protect yourself with either putting a lock or freezing your account, keep in mind that that may not be right for every situation. So let's explore the services in more detail. What's the difference between a lock and a freeze? Both credit report freezes and locks keep scammers from using your credit reports to open new accounts. They also prevent lenders from checking your credit report, which they usually do before approving a new loan or credit card. Although a lock and freeze provide some protection, there's one key difference between them. It's a lot easier to unlock your credit card than to end a credit freeze. A credit freeze requires you to use a password protected account to unfreeze your report, and typically takes longer to lift. So this is how locks and freezes work. No matter which one you choose, consider freezing or locking your credit file with each of the 3 major credit bureaus. If you spot any suspicious activity on your accounts, locking or freezing your credit card with only one bureau won't stop someone from accessing your credit file from the other 2 bureaus. What are the pros and cons? Locking or freezing your credit can offer solid protection, but there are also trade-offs. And here are some of the pros and cons for both. Pros: they help protect against fraud. They don't affect your credit score. They may be free. Cons: you can't apply for credit while the lock or freeze is in place. They don't prevent thieves from using your existing financial accounts, and you have to lock or freeze your credit files with each bureau separately. So when should you do it? Freeze or lock your credit report. You may want to ask for a credit report freeze or lock anytime you feel that your credit is at risk. This can happen when you notice or you suspect a data breach. Hackers access a system that contains your personal data and steal it. Suspicious activity. Transactions you don't recognize show up on your credit report, like an account you did not open. Identity theft. Someone has been using your personal information to buy things or open accounts. You typically don't need to request a lock or freeze on your credit report if you lose your credit card or notice a potential fraudulent transaction. Usually, your lender should help you resolve the issue by sending you a new credit card with a different number. The credit report lock. To put it into place, call the credit bureau, go online, or download the bureau's app to request a lock. Depending on the bureau, you may have to pay a monthly fee. A lock can start immediately or can take up to 48 hours to go into effect. To lift one, call the credit card bureau, go online, or use the app. The credit bureau may lift the lock either immediately or within 48 hours. The lock may also be fitted automatically after a certain period of time, depending on which service you use. A credit report freeze. To put into place, call the credit card bureau, go online, or use the bureau's app to request a credit file freeze. You'll receive a PIN, PIN, or password that you can later use to lift the freeze. The process from request to freeze typically takes 1 to 3 business days and is completely free. To lift, when you're ready to unfreeze, call the credit card bureau or use its website. Provide your PIN or password, and the freeze should end within an hour. If you make the request by mail, the credit bureau will end the freeze no later than 3 business days after receiving your request. How do you choose between the two? Here are a few things to consider. Convenience. A credit lock is typically a bit easier and faster to set up and lift. This can be helpful if you're planning to apply for a new credit card soon, in which case you may need to quickly lift the lock. Cost. A credit freeze is a free service offered by the credit bureau, but you might need to pay a monthly fee in order to use a credit lock. Protection. A credit freeze can give you extra protection if someone manages to open an account in your name. For example, you won't be liable for an account if you have a freeze in place. Even though the 3 major credit bureaus offer both credit report lock and freeze services, you can't use both a lock and a freeze at the same time. Make sure to contact each bureau when you decide to end the freeze or lock. Question: can lenders see my report when it's locked or frozen? There are situations where lenders and companies can see your credit report even if you have a freeze or lock in place. For example, a current leader can always check your credit. Companies that want to send you a pre-approved credit card can offer access your report no matter what. You can also check your report even if you placed a lock or freeze on it. The key takeaways I promised you: credit report freezes and locks can help protect you from fraud if your data was breached. Freezing your credit report is free, but you might need to pay a monthly fee from the credit bureau to lock your credit. A credit report lock is typically a bit easier and faster to set up and lift than a freeze. Locks and freezes don't affect your credit score, but they generally prevent you from applying for a new credit card while they're in place. You can still check your own credit report and score while you have a lock or free. And when you follow that link, you will be taken to a page that will give you some additional information. For example, it says on the top, additional information, and then it goes on to say, VantageScore 3.0 with scores ranging from 300 to 850 is a user-friendly credit score model developed by 3 major nationwide credit reporting agencies, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. VantageScore 3.0 is used by some, but not all lenders. Higher scores represent a greater likelihood that you pay back your debts, so you are viewed as being a lower credit risk to lenders. A lower score indicates to lenders that you may be a higher credit risk. There are 3 different major credit reporting agencies, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, that maintain a record of your credit history known as your credit file. Credit scores are based on the information in your credit file at the time it is requested. Your credit file information can vary from agency to agency because some lenders report your credit history to only 1 or 2 of the agencies. So your credit scores can vary if the information they have on file from you is different. Since the information in your file can change over time, your credit scores also may be different from day to day. Different credit scoring models can also give a different assessment of the credit risk or default for the same consumer and same credit file. And then it gives you some additional information about the agencies. But the best thing that you need to know is that the identity theft insurance is underwritten and administered by American Bankers Insurance Company of Florida, an assistant company, an assurant company under group or blanket policies. This description herein is a summary and intended for informational purpose only and does not include all terms, conditions, and extensions of the policies described. The one final note that I want to share with you is this. Be advised that you need to contact your local police and report that the fact that your Social Security number was either breached or has been absconded and can be found in the dark or black web. Very important, because they will act upon that information immediately. So don't forget. Thank you very much for joining me. You can see this video or hear this audio all over again over at youtube.com/Passionate World Radio, Passionate World Talk Radio. Also on our website, https://passionateworldtalkradio.com/blog. You can also see it on all social media, facebook.com/Passionate World Radio. Also on linkedin.com/Lillian Cauldwell/Passionate World Radio. You can also hear it and see it on Spreaker.com/individual Scam DamNation. This program, Scam DamNation, is brought to you by two companies. The first one is Flex Connection. Want to find all your AI in one place? An app that is approachable and easy and simple to learn while you're making money with it? Go over to https:///esc73.try ruby.ai and sign up for a $50 or $100 subscription and see what the world can offer you all in one place. The other company is passionatworldtalkradio.com, and we offer you training for the obstacles of podcasting. Go over to our website, https://educational.passionatworldtalkradio.com/masterclass, and sign up for the 2-month program and become the star that you know you are. Thank you very much for listening, and have a great week.